The Truck Series Midsummer Dirt Derby is tonight at Eldora Speedway. We're going to talk about that must-see spectacle for any NASCAR fan. We're going to talk about Tony Stewart. We're going to talk about Tyler Reddick. We're going to talk about a bunch of stuff this morning. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric, and welcome to Out of the Groove. My stomach keeps growling, it's really loud. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day, kids. Remember that. Let's just get this started. Let's talk about Eldora. That is tonight, Thursday night on Fox Sports 1. Qualifying heat races and everything start at, I believe, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. 9 p.m. Eastern Time is when the main event, the final race starts. Looking at the Truck Series entry list, a few notable names to discuss. Now, I remember back in the day in the Cup Series when we go to like Watkins Glen or Sonoma, we'd see a lot of like kind of road course ringers. You know, Boris said, people like that would come in and just race for one race, maybe for a middle or smaller sized team, and would try to get him a good result. In the last few years, we really don't see road course ringers show up to Watkins Glen or Sonoma anymore, so that's kind of died off. But when it comes to the Dirt Derby here at Eldora, we do still see some dirt racing specialists, so let's talk about this entry list really quick. For one, Jordan Anderson Racing has Carson Hocevar, I don't know how to say that name exactly, driving the number 3 car, a Dirt Series veteran. Jordan Anderson playing the role of team owner here, not driver this week, so interesting to see that. Fan favorite perhaps, Norm Benning is back in the 6. Colt Gilliam driving the 8, another Dirt Series background kind of guy. Chase Briscoe is also racing for Thor Sport. He will be a tough one to stop. Another dirt racer in the 38, Mark Smith for Nice Motorsports. I believe that car is in collaboration with Jordan Anderson, actually. I think they collaborated to bring that truck to the track. You also got Christian Eckes in a Kyle Busch car. Kyle Strickler driving the 54. Natalie Decker is not racing in this race. So there you go. There's a lot of the notables, a lot of the notable drivers that maybe we're not used to seeing each week that will be in the Truck Series Dirt Derby tonight. Some guys with sprint car backgrounds, other guys with, dirt modified backgrounds. So a lot of dirt experience is going to be on track tonight, which is going to make it really interesting with the way the points battle is shaping up in the trucks right now. With Stewart Friesen and Harrison Burton battling it out for that final playoff spot in the points right now. You got guys like Todd Gilliland and Kyle Busch Motorsports Equipment who need to win to make it into the playoffs. There's a lot of drama potentially tonight, and I think throwing them all into a little half-mile dirt ring there is only going to amplify things quite a bit. So I'm excited to watch that. I think track owner Tony Stewart might be pretty excited to watch this race as well. He seems to be kind of on edge the last few days. I know I'm a little late to this, but I figured I'd save it for when I talk about Eldora. Last weekend, Tony Stewart was caught on video kind of getting into an altercation with some fans.
Yeah, get out of here! Tony! Good job, Tony!
Hey, Tony, I got 2 of them. Hey, shut up!
Hey! Oh!
No!
Yeah!
We're all about family-friendly content here on Out of the Groove, and as you can see in that clip, there is a nice young little girl there with everybody, so clearly that is some family-friendly content. That's why I'm showing that to you. No, but in all seriousness, this made the rounds because it's a NASCAR superstar trying to punch a fan. Didn't really land the punch, although the video does cut off. Maybe they, took it to the dirt or something, started tackling and wrestling each other. Who knows? Maybe when the video shut off, but from what the video showed, didn't really land the punch, but he did throw a punch. And, that's pretty Tony Stewart-esque right there. Not sure exactly what happens. Looks like Tony Stewart was signing autographs for fans. One fan was a heckler, decided to be a heckler, decided to ruin the fun for everybody else. Or maybe amplify the fun, because when you got Tony Stewart swinging at people, you could hear in the crowd, that's kind of entertaining. But in all seriousness, I don't think this is a bad look for the sport, but I also don't think it's a great look. I think it's just Tony Stewart being Tony Stewart. It's kind of just him living up to his brand. Definitely doesn't do anything to end the stereotype of a bunch of dumb rednecks driving in circles. I mean, you just listen to the crowd, that one guy.
Tony! Oh! Yeah!
Tony! I think that's kind of the people that they're stereotyping when they make those jokes. But hey, I'll be darned if that's not entertaining right there. And Tony Stewart, he's good at track promoting. Perfect timing for him to get in a fight a week before the biggest race at his track up in Ohio, Eldora. Get in a fight, go viral on social media. Wow, what's Tony Stewart up to? Oh yeah, that's right, he's owning Eldora. Eldora is this week. Let's go buy some tickets because Tony Stewart tried to punch a guy who was heckling him. I don't know. Maybe it's a great marketing strategy. Tony Stewart's probably a lot smarter than I am. So anyway, that was a funny clip making the rounds. I say funny. It was probably kind of stressful for some people, but it was funny to me. It was funny from a distance. But that's about it for Eldora. If you want my pick, I'll probably go with Chase Briscoe, actually. He's pretty good dirt racing background. He's driving a good truck for Thor Sport there. I think he'll be tough to beat. And Matt Crafton has won this before. I really will be interested in a lot of ways to see what the series regulars run like. Guys like Ross Chastain, how's he going to do on dirt? I feel like I haven't seen him. He's probably raced in this race before. I just don't remember it. But I feel like this is the first year he's been in really competitive equipment. So I'll be interested to see how he does. Some of the guys in the playoff battle, like I talked about, Harrison Burton, Todd Gilliland, Stewart Friesen, those people, I'd like to see what they do. But it'll be really entertaining. I'll be tuning in tonight. Hopefully you guys are too. Let's move on. Other thing I want to talk about, some silly season updates. So we've talked a little bit about Tyler Reddick and Richard Childress Racing. He's made a couple starts this year for Richard Childress Racing in a temporary third car, even had a top 10 earlier this year. But Tyler Reddick has really broken out in the last 12 months. You know, he won last year at Daytona in the Xfinity Series, but then he really didn't win at all, really wasn't super competitive until the championship race at Homestead. Tyler Reddick won the Xfinity Championship last year driving for Junior Motorsports, then this year he switched over to RCR, still in Xfinity. A lot of people called his championship last year a fluke because he didn't run super well most of the season, really didn't look like a championship contender, but just stole the race at Homestead. A lot of people called it a fluke, but Tyler Reddick this year has been on a mission to prove to everyone that it was not a fluke. He's already got 3 wins this year. He's been battling as a part of the Xfinity Big 3 with Christopher Bell and Cole Custer. He's been a part of that all season long. And it's been something to watch. The fan sort of consensus around Tyler Reddick has shifted from kind of overrated average driver to, hey, he's a future Cup star maybe. It's amazing how this mindset has changed so quickly in such a short amount of time. But that's what happens when you win races in good equipment, when you run how your equipment should run. Less than a year ago, fans didn't think Reddick deserved the Xfinity car he was in. Now people are waiting for him and clamoring for him to get to a decent Cup ride. And Richard Childress sounds like he might be the guy to make that happen very soon. Earlier this week, Richard Childress Racing was talking about Tyler Reddick's future, talking about how he wants to get him in a Cup Series car, but how he's not certain Tyler Reddick will be driving for his race team. So let's hear a little bit of what he said. He said, "That's our goal right now, is to try and put him in a Cup car. That's what he wants to do. That's the reason he came to RCR, because he knew we had Cup cars and Cup experience. He'll win some Cup races if you put him in a Cup car. That's where he wants to be, and I think he deserves it. He's ready for Cup right now." Tyler Reddick said in the same report that the current deal he's on with RCR is just a 1-year deal. So at the end of this season, he is not under contract for next season. And Richard Childress has seemingly effectively dismissed any idea of Reddick staying in Xfinity for a 3rd straight year. It sounds like it's Cup or nothing when it comes to the RCR Tyler Reddick pairing. Now, these comments from Richard Childress aren't entirely new. Earlier this year, after Reddick made his first Cup Series start back at, I think it was Daytona, Childress said then that he hoped to get Reddick into a Cup Series car for 2020. However, the report from earlier this week is different in that now Richard Childress is being a little more specific with some of his ideas. He's not certain that he's going to get Tyler Reddick in an RCR Cup Series car. There's a good chance, and he's open to the possibility of sending Reddick to one of their affiliate teams, maybe Richard Petty Motorsports. I know Bubba Wallace has found some sponsorship for this season, but next season's still very much in question. That could be a potential landing spot for Tyler Reddick if Bubba can't bring enough funding of his own. Or maybe even Germain Racing, where Ty Dillon is currently running. That's affiliated with RCR. Maybe they'd open up a second car over there. Perhaps they have something like that in the budget, not sure. But that's kind of where Richard Childress is at right now. He wants to keep Tyler Reddick in his system, and specifically in the Cup Series. Sounds to me like Richard Childress is not interested in keeping Reddick down in the Xfinity Series, or maybe more so, Reddick is not interested in staying in the Xfinity Series again. I think Tyler Reddick knows at the end of this deal this year, he knows he can get a solid Cup Series ride somewhere with his current resume. He's probably right. And with the way this silly season's shaping up, there could be a lot of solid rides available, or at least up in the air, I should say. So Tyler Reddick could very well swoop in and take up, an SHR car. He could swoop in and take Roush car, maybe? I'm not even going to rule out one of the current RCR cars. Obviously, Richard Childress could bring the 31 back full-time, as he's doing part-time this year. He could bring the 31 back or 29 back full-time and give that to Reddick. Or, I don't know about Hemrick's situation. Hemrick, I know he's just a rookie. It'd be kind of lame to kick him out after just 1 year, but I don't know the situation there. I don't think Austin or Ty Dillon are going anywhere. They are Richard's grandsons, so they're probably untouchable. Just the way it is. Just the way it is. Their performance is not good, but it's just the way it is. So that's what makes it interesting. Will Richard Childress put Tyler Reddick in the 43? Will he try to put him in the 13 or in an affiliated car with one of those teams? But even perhaps more interesting, would Tyler Reddick accept a ride in the 43 car? Would he accept a Germain Racing car? Would he accept even a 3rd RCR car? Because RCR has been pretty bad this year. Both their cars are outside the top 20 in points. That is, I don't know, that's pretty unacceptable by RCR standards. We talk about how Roush is kind of fallen back, and Roush is sort of on the comeback this year compared to RCR. Tyler Reddick is not committed to one organization beyond this season. If I was him and I knew that my only options were a 3rd RCR car or, Richard Petty Motorsports or Germain Racing, it's like, I don't know, I might test my waters elsewhere. I think Tyler Reddick has as good a chance as Cole Custer of getting a good ride, has as good a chance as Christopher Bell getting a good ride. Tyler Reddick might end up with a better ride next year than Christopher Bell does if Bell ends up going to Levine Family Racing. So if I'm Tyler Reddick and the only options available to me are the ones I just talked about, I don't know if I jump at that. I might kind of sit on my hands and see who else is calling. The same thing I thought Christopher Bell might do this next season as well. If Joe Gibbs can't promise him a good Cup Series ride, maybe Christopher Bell doesn't sign that extension that he did earlier this month. Maybe instead he tries, checking out his options elsewhere. But I think Christopher Bell, the Toyota money and everything was a little too tied down. It was hard for Bell to walk away from Toyota. Reddick is not nearly as tied down to RCR as Bell is to JGR. So that's why I think Reddick might have a little bit more freedom here, bouncing between teams, going somewhere else, maybe weighing his options. But it's going to be really interesting to see how this works out. I'm really excited because there's a very good chance that next year we could have Christopher Bell, Tyler Reddick, and Cole Custer, the current Xfinity Big Three, all contending for Rookie of the Year in the Cup Series next year in average to above average rides. I still think there's a good chance Custer lands with SHR next year. I think Bell will land in a Toyota car next year, likely a car at Levine, which, I don't know, Matt DiMatteo showed that car can run top 15. Tyler Reddick's the one unpredictable one. Maybe he sticks with RCR. Might be his best and safest bet, but I don't know, maybe he tests the waters. Maybe he also gets an SHR car, since they have a couple drivers that might not be with him next season. It's intriguing to me. I love this silly season stuff, especially now that my driver is not involved and I don't have to worry about him getting kicked out for a young driver. I mean, because it already happened. A lot more fun to watch other people squirm and get nervous about where they're going. It's not as fun when it's your guy in a bad spot. But anyway, y'all, that's my show. Hope you guys enjoyed. Lots to talk about, and I'm sure we'll only have more to discuss as the months continue to tick on by. But yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. Remember, you can follow me on Instagram. You can follow me on Twitter. Continue the conversation over there. And then, of course, a big thank you to my Patreon supporters. Michael Harrison, at You Is the Stars, Mentally Defective, Cameron, James, John Koblenz, Jason R. Long, Wesley Donaldson, Isaac Dennison, Mika Suzuki, iFantasyRace.com, TheRacingInsiders.com, Pepe Luscious, Matthew Koulopoulos, Jeremy Conklin, Emilio Garcia, Joey DiMicino, and the rest of these incredible Patreon supporters. I could not do this without the support I get from all of you, so thank you, thank you. This show's growing, and it's a lot of it is due to, obviously, you guys that watch at home, but also to the support, the bonus support I get from all of you on Patreon. I really appreciate it. I'm not sure I'll have another episode up this week. I have a live stream tomorrow night. I'll be reacting to my old WE Cup Series stop motion races. If you've been a fan of the channel for a long time, you know that those are kind of what helped blow this channel up at first. So I'll be doing a live stream tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern time, where I'll be sitting back and watching a lot of the old races with you guys, answering questions, talking with y'all in the comments. Should be a lot of fun. That's tomorrow night, and then I'll have Out of the Grooves up again this weekend after the race at Watkins Glen, and of course all of next week. It's going to be a lot of fun stuff going out as the summer kind of winds to a close, but it's been great so far. I got trip plans coming up. I'll be at Bristol, the August Bristol night race later this month. I'm going to be at the NASCAR Hall of Fame later this month, so I'll be filming some fun videos here hopefully pretty soon that I'm excited to share with you guys. So thank you all for the continued support, and I'll see you again very, very soon. Bye-bye, everyone.